I came home to find a note on the kitchen counter. It was short, cruel, and cold. "I've found someone better. I'm taking half of everything, including your grandmother's inheritance." My husband had cleaned out our accounts and moved in with his secretary. Most people would have broken down in tears. But me, I smiled, because what he didn't know was that I had been preparing for this day, for a very long time. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted with your whole heart, you're going to love this story. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around, because the revenge in this tale is as cold as ice and twice as sweet. My husband and I had been married for nearly 15 years. At least, that's how long I thought we were building a life together. We had the house, the shared dreams, and what I believed was loyalty. But little by little, I started noticing cracks. Late nights at the office. Phone calls he took in the garage with the door closed. And that faint smell of perfume clinging to his shirts, a scent that wasn't mine. I told myself I was paranoid. I wanted to believe the best in him. That's the trap of love. You blind yourself to the truth because the alternative is too painful. And then came the note. No conversation, no confrontation, just a scribbled message on the counter, like I was some roommate he was breaking a lease with. He wrote that he had found someone better, that he was taking half of everything, and worst of all, that he was taking my grandmother's inheritance, the one thing she left to me when she passed. My knees gave out for a second. The room spun. That inheritance wasn't just money, it was my grandmother's legacy, her love in tangible form. And this man, this parasite I had called my husband, thought he could rip it away. He thought I'd crumble, but he underestimated me. You see, long before this, I had noticed his behavior. The secrecy, the spending, the withdrawals from accounts that didn't add up. And instead of confronting him, I quietly started preparing. I opened my own accounts. I shifted money slowly, carefully. I built a paper trail that no lawyer could touch. And most importantly, I had one thing he didn't know about. A safe. Inside it was not just jewelry and family heirlooms, but documents, proof of his financial misdeeds, shady investments, and enough evidence of his little, office affair, to blow his new life to pieces. When I read that note, instead of crying, I walked straight to the safe. The weight of the metal handle felt like justice itself. I opened it, pulled out the thick folder I had been keeping, and for the first time in weeks, I truly smiled. The next few days were a performance. He thought he had the upper hand, parading his secretary around, showing off the new apartment he had rented. He bragged to mutual friends that he had upgraded. What he didn't know was that every time he flaunted, he gave me more ammunition. I hired the best lawyer I could find, paid for, of course, with the untouched inheritance that he thought he had access to. We went over every document, every bank statement, every sneaky little move he made. The lawyer's grin grew wider with each page. By the end, we had built an airtight case. And then came the day of reckoning. Court. He walked in smug, hand in hand with his secretary, who looked more like a deer in headlights than a partner in crime. He expected sympathy, maybe even pity for me. What he got instead was a full display of his lies, projected in front of the judge like a slideshow of shame. Emails to his mistress, unauthorized withdrawals, a clear violation of our prenup, one he had probably forgotten we even signed, but oh, I remembered. The look on his face when the judge announced the ruling. Priceless. Not only did he lose the inheritance claim, he also lost his share of the house, his car, and a good chunk of his own assets. He walked in expecting to walk out rich and free. Instead, he left broke, humiliated, and stuck with the secretary who suddenly realized she had signed up for a sinking ship. As for me, I kept my grandmother's inheritance safe. I kept the house. And I walked out of that courtroom with my head held high, while he sat slumped in defeat. The sweetest part wasn't the money. It wasn't the assets. It was watching him realize, in real time, that he had underestimated me. That the woman he thought was weak, naive, and easy to discard had outsmarted him at every turn. His silence as we left the courtroom was deafening. No excuses, no last-minute begging. Just a broken man realizing his better choice had cost him everything. Sometimes revenge isn't about screaming or fighting back. It's about patience. About letting people dig their own grave, and then handing them the shovel. My husband thought betrayal would break me. Instead, it built me. Outro call to action 20 seconds. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and share it with someone who loves a good dose of karma. Tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? And don't forget to subscribe, because I've got plenty more stories where this came from.